Rob Flax here. I play things with strings, I hit stuff, and I sing, and this is the final-ish part of my studio tour. Hardest one to film so far. A few weeks ago, I thought I finally had everything sorted out. I got the ensemble mixer, the Boss ES8, I got those to work together nicely. I got my Novation Summit synthesizer routed into that stuff. Everything's working well. And then somebody on Craigslist was selling a bunch of synthesizers. Everything must go. I'm moving out of the country. I need someone to take all of it all at once. And I said, yeah, okay, I'll check it out. So in addition to my gear, I now have even more gear. And this is the third part of that. This beautiful stand that you see I'm cutting to now has all of this stuff lined up. It's got the ensemble mixer, the Klein bottle board with the blooper, Dark World, and Condor, and then above that it has two other things. The thing on the right was one of the things that came in this lot of synthesizers, and I barely have scratched the surface of this. I'm excited to learn to use it over the next several years. It's the Sequential Six-Trak. This is a very early MIDI synthesizer. It's an analog polysynth. I believe it was made in 1984, plus or minus 1 or 2 years, and the controls on it are a little unusual but quite workable. Basically, everything is controlled with a parameter button. So you select, do you want to change the program, which means it will do some other preset, or you could choose one of the parameters to tweak, and there's the whole list on the front panel in detail, and then you turn the one knob that adjusts that. There's a master tuning knob and a master volume, there's a pitch and a mod wheel, and there's this whole 6-track multi-track sequencer built in, which is a lot of fun. I've started to mess with that a little bit. Basically, at the moment, it's a mystery synth from the 80s that has MIDI in and out, and at some point, I will control using my smart chessboard. I still can't get over that. I'm going to control all of this space station with a game of chess. That's just bonkers. Okay, but we've got a problem now. This is another input. This instrument I want to have going into my pedals, but you may have noticed that the ensemble mixer was full, and the 6-track is a mono out, so everything's in mono, meaning it doesn't really make sense for me to send it into the signal chain at the stereo point. I might want to apply some mono effects to it, like overdrives, fuzzes, pitch shifting, EQ, all that sort of thing. So I need to use another mixer of some kind, something that can get my violin and this 6-track into the setup. Well, cut to this little mini subboard. This is full of odds and ends that didn't have a home elsewhere and are really pedals I want to tweak with my hands. So up top there with the 4-color knobs is the Pladask Elektrisk Matrise. This is a matrix mixer. It has 4 inputs and 4 outputs that you can configure any way you want, including sending anything to anything from anything, or even back into itself. More on that in a bit. Channel 1, which is the bottommost thing, that's our 6-track. And the far left column is those white knobs. That's what's getting sent to the main pedal board. I can adjust that now. Channel 2 above that is my violin. So let's send some 6-track to my pedals. What's doing that sound? It's the Klein bottle board. I'll mute it for now. Take the bloopers magical pitch shifting out of the equation. Oh, I'm also... that was the avalanche run doing some reverse delay. So it works. The 6-track is going into the Matrise and is then going into the pedals. Sweet. What about the violin? Well, that works too. That's my second input. So everything's getting everything. Sweet. Okay, so what about the rest of the stuff? Well, there was room for 2 more channels, so I thought I'd do some more chaotic pedal things. This is the Ghost Fax from Dwarfcraft, which I don't know if they're even making stuff anymore, so I'm glad I bought it when I did. This is a freaky phaser. It has up to, I think, 24 stages with a ton of resonance and feedback. So that's the yellow channel. Anything that I want to send to the phaser needs to go in that yellow thing. And then if I want to hear it, that's channel 3. You hear those little clicking sounds, right? When I send something to it and I change the number of pulls with the resonance high up, it does some pretty wild resonance. I'm going to put my violin down because for the remainder of this demo, it would be convenient to be just over there and not playing a violin at the same time. This is another great thing that the Sequential Six-Trak can be used for, is just one hand playing a note here and then the other hand tweaking phaser things. Let's try that. Awesome. What a great sound. Okay, so that's really handy. Also, totally bananas is what happens when you send the output of the phaser back into itself. I'm going to play one note and then basically let the phaser do the rest of the work. Check it out. I would describe that as not your average sound. The last and final loop on the Matrise has these 2 purplish pedals. The PurPLL from the good folks at Montreal Assembly, and that's going in series into the Somersault by Caroline Guitar Company. Let's hear what that sounds like. The purple, I'm going to make a whole separate video on the purple because it's so complicated, but it's a PLL, so it takes one note and turns it into a square wave using a phase-locked loop, and then you can multiply and divide that. Here's what it sounds like. And of course, that's just the sound of the PurPLL on its own, taking one note from the Sequential Six-Trak and turning it into the phase-locked loop. Let me turn down the Six-Trak so you're only hearing that, and then I'm going to turn on the Somersault so you can hear the chorus. now we've heard the basic ingredients. The Somersault is really wild. I especially love that square wave modulation turned way up, and the Havoc switch that lets me max out the rate of that. It does a thing that reminds me of the Chase Bliss Thermae, which, as you know, I am partial to. That's the independent sounds and the Ghost Fax being looped back into itself. But what if we send the synth into the purple, into the phaser, back into the purple, back into the phaser? Let's just turn up some feedback and see what happens. That'll work. So just absurd combinations of things. The purple and the Ghost Fax are wonderful tweak boxes that I could just sit there and have smashing into each other for ages, and the Matrise is the perfect facilitator for some chaotic feedback stuff. All of their chaos is then being fed into the Klein bottle, which can be freaked out a second time in parallel. I feel very Heinbach, pinging filters, using phasers on everything, feeding things into each other, and basically using non-synthesizers as synthesizers. That's a good summary of where I'm at in this current setup as of July 28th, 2021. The next steps for me are fivefold, I'd say. First, I need to spend more time smashing those pedals into each other. They're really amazing, and they do cool things that I haven't found yet. Second, I need to spend more time poking at the 6-track. That's just whatever default preset happened to be saved on there, and I still don't understand how to use the sequencer. I'd like to wire it up with MIDI. And then, that's really step 3, is fully MIDify the entire board here, so I can use the ES8 to its full potential, send messages from step 4, the chessboard. So pretty soon I'll have all of that working in harmony together. But in the meantime, if you would like to have access to my experimental sound design stuff, things like what you just heard and much, much more, all of that is going to be available to my patrons on Patreon, so that's where you should go check that out. If you have any questions, any suggestions for how you might wire this up differently, I'm open to suggestions, so please hit me with your comments. Let me know, did you like these freaky, freaky sounds? Did you not enjoy them? Leave an angry comment and type a lot so the algorithm will still favor my video. Okay, thanks for watching. Please click the like button if you haven't already. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you'd like to support my work and get access to all the cool stuff, patreon.com is the place to do it. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.